Test, 1, 2, 3. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. Welcome to one of our Sunday Stock Talks. If you guys are tuning on in for what I just posted on Instagram, I just wanted to kind of change things up and also, thank you guys for taking time out of your Sunday. I was talking to some of you guys right now in the live chat, and we were talking about what should we give away for free, right? This is just a little change of a thing. You don't have to partake in it if you don't want to. We're going to get right into this video where we talk about the top 10 stocks that you guys all see value in. All we wanted to do is for those that are tuning in live or for those that are watching this video before Monday at market open, all you have to do is, if you can drop a thumbs up, great. And then once you, if you guys have an Instagram, all you guys have to do is tag me on Instagram, and I will be selecting a random person that tags me on Instagram. I was going to decide for you on what it is that you can get for free, but I'm just going to let you decide. So you guys can visit our website. It's going to be the fourth link in the description. You don't have to buy anything if you don't want to, right? I'm going to be giving it away for you for free. So if you guys have been wanting a trading mouse pad, if you guys have been wanting anything when it comes down to our hustle wall art or wall flags, or any of the apparel, if it's the Hustle Hard, the Wall Street hoodie, anything from the website, when it comes down to the flags, when it comes down to the apparel, or when it comes down to the mouse pads, all you guys have to do is tag me on Instagram that you're watching me during this live session, and I will be selecting one random person, and by probably by tomorrow at market open, I'm already going to have you selected, and hopefully we can host one of these. I know we can, so I'll probably continue to do this every single Sunday stock talk. I might choose more than just one of you, just depending on how many of you guys engage. So yep, that's really just it. You guys don't have to do anything. If you guys want to comment down below done once you post me on Instagram, great. All you have to do is, again, use your Instagram, tag me at Ricky Gutierrez with 2 Z's. I only have one Instagram account, and I will be sending you anything that it is that you select from our website. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Again, if you guys are going to be asking what's this website, it's the fourth link in the description, or shop.techbuds.com, so you can select what it is that you would like for free. But let's go ahead and get started. One of the things that I quickly want to talk about while you guys gather your top stock for this week is IXIC is the Nasdaq Index, and one of the things that we saw last week is an amazing recovery from the Nasdaq market, which has a big focus on tech. How many of you guys saw Snapchat? How many of you guys saw Twitter that they reported and exceeded expectations when it comes down to their earnings, and it made the overall Nasdaq market not just come back to previous highs, but it made new 180-day highs on the Nasdaq market, which is of course great to see. Now that the Nasdaq market is a little bit more on the overbought side, again, there's a lot of other big tech stocks that are going to be reporting earnings, right? This upcoming week, Tesla's reporting earnings. So if you think that whatever stock it is that is going to be reporting earnings can act as a negative or positive catalyst, just make sure you take that into consideration. This upcoming week should be a pretty choppy week, just depending on how the other rest of the tech stocks begin to report earnings and how those can have an influence on the overall Nasdaq market. So I hope that you don't make impulsive decisions based off of how these report earnings or how the market reacts to these earnings being reported. So just make sure you take that into consideration. But I am in California right now, so I thought my vision was going, no, it's definitely, what's it called? It's definitely my laptop that I'm in. I fly back to Arizona tomorrow. So if you're part of the Learn Plan Profit group for our live trading session, I'll be trading off of my laptop. So just understand that the stream quality is going to be a little bit less than it normally is when I'm at my home trading setup. 480p, right? So let's go ahead and get right to it. So we got Brandon Wagner. So ticker call out format is NCLH. So this one's Norwegian, NCLH, isn't it? What is it? Oh, this is not. So NCLH. Let's check this out. Is it Norwegian Cruise Line? Oh, it is. Okay, I just wanted to double check. I wasn't too sure if it was. Here it goes. Let's see if it actually loads. Not too sure why it's taking so long. All right, there it goes. So we got we have NCLH, again, a very popular cruise line is CCL, which is Carnival Cruise Line. But we can see that the overall cruise line industry has experienced this very bearish pattern, meaning that it's been making lower highs and lower lows. We can see that we just had a recent push up. If we go to Carnival Cruise Line, it should be offering a very similar setup where we were very, very bearish. I talked about these stocks, if I'm not mistaken, last week or the week before that, where they were continuously selling off. I'm not too sure why it's taking so long, so let me go ahead and I'm going to close this out just to see if that's a reason why it's loading. But you guys can see that CCL has been making lower highs and lower lows as well. Very similar pattern to NCLH. It's been making lower highs and lower lows. Overall, the overall cruise line industry as of right now, it's definitely more bearish than it is bullish. So make sure you take that into consideration, that we had a really strong push, but it wouldn't be much of a surprise. You guys could see that it's already testing the support level at the EMA line. It wouldn't be a very big surprise if it pulls on back to previous levels right around $22 to lows of $21. So just make sure that if you do decide to buy the dip, right, because of the upside potential, this is something that we've all been talking about. Let's say it sells off to $22.60, right? And if it were to make a full recovery, you guys could see that the potential here is 45%. It makes sense on why you're paying attention to it. It wouldn't make sense to go all in, especially when the overall direction is not in our favor. It's making lower highs, lower lows. As of right now, it's just very uncertain with things, especially with COVID numbers, COVID cases increasing back again, and the idea of certain cities implementing restrictions again. I think like the COVID guidelines are just, again, I almost felt like we were transitioning back to normal. At least a lot of other states are, but there are certain states that kind of have taken a couple steps back, and I think that this has acted as a negative catalyst for stocks like Norwegian Cruise Line and Carnival Cruise Line that have been pulling on back. I think it's a great stock that we can look forward to in the future, but it's not something that I would put money into right now and expect to make an instant return, 1 or 2 weeks from now, right? Just based off of previous performance, it takes a couple months for it to make a full recovery. So let's make sure that you set that proper expectation when you take that initial position. Just make sure that if you're an absolute beginner, it's probably not in your best interest to buy the dip because you don't really know how to manage your risk or manage your position size. But if you do decide to buy in early, just understand that it comes at a greater form of risk because it's still selling off, but as well as make sure your position size is effective, that if it continues to sell off, that it's something you can tolerate and that you understand it doesn't have to recover right away. Let's go ahead and get started to or break down another one. So let's go ahead and break down LGFA. Alrighty. And yeah, if it doesn't bother you guys too much, if you guys can post these in the ticker call out format, that would be great. So let's go ahead and break this one down. Not too sure why it's taking so long for this to load. I don't know if I'm gonna have to reset it, but one of the things that I can tell right away by LGF, what is that? Is it just LGF? Let me double check. Oh yeah. So there's LGFB and LGFA. Looks like there's you can tell right away that it has much lower volume, right? From overall highs of $21.42. Let me ask you a very simple question, right? Is this the way that you want your trading account to look like, right? If you were to look at the overall activity of your account, is this something that you want it to look like? As of right now, as LGFA is pulling on back, yeah, I do agree. It is approaching previous support levels right around $15. I see that. I'm right there with you, right? But as of right now, it is more bearish than it is bullish, and nothing has changed. It's been getting rejected by the EMA line, and until it continues to trade, and until it trades above the EMA line, you guys can see because it's been acting as a resistance level with LGFA, it would be in our best interest to maybe not touch LGFA until it begins to trade above like it has before, right? Above EMA, where it begins to actually indicate signs of an uptrend. How many of you guys, and again, I'm right there with you, right, have been in a position before where you buy the dip but it continues to sell off. It's one of the worst feelings, where more often than not, if all we had to do was wait for confirmation, wait for indication of an uptrend, we can at least be more effective and efficient with when we decide to buy, because we're partaking in the actual activity of, again, this acting as a positive notion and acting as, actually increasing in value, where it just makes sense to take a position when the direction's in your favor versus trying to buy the dip and hope that that is the actual lowest point that it's going to hit. So if you do decide to buy the dip, please, again, take into consideration that it can continue to sell off, and please take into consideration your position size. I would personally wait for confirmation or at least some indication of an overall reversal, which would look for a break above the EMA line. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got Mitch with ticker symbol APO. I appreciate you posting that, Mitch. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. So, man, I don't know why it's taking so long to load. I do apologize for that. But we got ticker symbol APO. It was previously very bullish. I like that you're at least focusing on something that is previously bullish before. Like we've said, it is much easier to make money when the overall direction is in your favor. From where we're currently at as of right now to previous highs, it looks like it offers nearly 10% if it were to play out like a perfect trade. Let's be honest, it doesn't normally play out to be a perfect trade, right? So it wouldn't be much of a surprise that, again, you're not going to make that full 10%. But from where we're at as of right now to previous highs, I like the potential. I like the upside. I like how previously bullish it's been before. But one of the things that we need to take into consideration is that it needs to continue to hold, just like it did before, above this EMA line. So as it continues or begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, if it breaks below the EMA line, that would be a break-of pattern, which is where I would either cut losses or reduce my position size. It looks like it's in the very early stages of a potential reversal, which is great. But again, we would need a break above $60 a share, which is previously a common resistance level and then acted as a previous support level. So just know that that will be a critical area where I would set an alert on. Follow up with it. If it actually begins to continue to indicate signs of an uptrend, then yeah, I would love to add a little bit more to that position. But until then, it wouldn't be much of a surprise just with the RSI, with the MACD, and just based off of previous resistance levels that it could potentially get rejected. So again, if you do decide to buy in early, please watch your position size and understand that it could get rejected. So here we go. So we got Isaiah Caillou with the ticker call-out format, USA. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and see if it pops up. Give it a couple of seconds. So it looks like after market hours on Friday, it pushed up 1.7%. Looks like it dropped quite a bit on Friday. So it staying above the 180-day SMA. So again, this is another stock that has really, really low volume. Being completely honest, I don't like stocks that trade with this low of volume. I probably wouldn't trade this or invest in this myself. Let me just say that. I do appreciate the setup though. This is very bullish. More often than not, it tends to hold above the SMA line. It makes higher highs and higher lows. I like that about it. I just don't like the volume, right? So we can see eye to eye on certain things, on certain patterns. Just the qualification of the criteria of volume or trade activity, it's just not there. But from where we're at as of right now to previous highs, offers about 8%. So again, still very attractive. I see why you're paying attention to it. It's a little bit more on the oversold side. It could be viewed as a deal. I would just, again, if you do decide to buy the dip early, take into consideration two things: risk management and, of course, position size. It doesn't have to recover right away. So make sure that if you do decide to buy in early, that you can tolerate a pullback if it does end up happening, right? But again, I do really like how it's been trading before, so wish you the best of luck and set those effective alerts. We got Arthur with ticker symbol SAM. I appreciate you posting that again in the ticker call-out format. So let's go ahead and break this one down. It looks like it dropped, 26% it dropped on Friday. So this one should be interesting. How many of you guys, for those watching right now, how many of you guys like to pick up a couple good deals, right? Things that are undervalued. One of the things that I have to say right away about Boston Beers is I'm just looking at previous patterns, previous prices, and previous direction. If I were to ask you, I do agree with you, right? This is very oversold. The part that I don't find very attractive about this stock, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can agree, is on the 180-day 4-hour time frame, it's been making lower highs and lower lows. The direction was already not in our favor. This just acted as a further negative catalyst. So it does run the potential of recovering, and I see why you're paying attention to it because of that. But you have to be very careful with these because the direction is not in your favor. It's more bearish than it is bullish, and it can continue to sell off. Just imagine if we have that same mentality when it's sold off down here or it's sold off down here. Where are we now, right? It could continue to sell off. And again, I'm not here to be a negative Nancy. I just want you to take risk management into consideration and to not think that it has to recover because nothing has to happen. And the reason I say this is because I've been in this position so many times before where I buy the dip on something and it continues to sell off. And I'm sure with anyone that has any experience in the market for some time can tell you the same thing. Just make sure that if you do decide to buy the dip on something, that you have a reason behind it or that it's at least indicating signs of a reversal. I do agree with you. It's great to see that it dropped 26% because for those that are not invested in it, can potentially make money on the recovery, but we're not showing any indication of a recovery just yet. So let's go ahead and break down the next one. We got Travis with ticker symbol F. So this is going to be Ford Motors. So for all my Tesla people out there, you might want to shut your ears right now, right? So let's go ahead and let this load real quick. But we got Ford Motors hitting overall highs right around $16 to $17, right? We can see that right on over here. It's been making these lower highs and lower lows. Ford also does have up-and-coming earnings. So make sure you take that into consideration. They're going to be reporting earnings, so estimated earnings Q2 on 7/28. So make sure you add that to your calendar. If Ford is a stock that you've been following up with, that you've been considering investing, one of two things, right? This earnings can act as a negative catalyst or can act as a positive catalyst. Of course, for those that are not invested in Ford, if it reports earnings and it drops, that's great for us, right? But for those that are invested, your hope and your desire is that it exceeds expectation, that it shoots up, and that you can make money off of that difference. As of right now, it's more bearish definitely than it is bullish. I'm excited to follow up with it. I don't see any specific reason for me to buy in now. It is cheap based off of previous highs, but it's not a super good deal or the direction's not in my favor where it's indicating that, hey, I need to get into this right now regardless of earnings. I don't like to partake in earnings, especially when the previous direction has been more bearish than it is bullish. So I'm excited to follow up with it. So we got SQQQ and of course ticker symbol RAIN. So let's go ahead and break those down. So SQQQ is a very popular inverse ETF. Let me be super clear. I would not recommend SQQQ for any beginner whatsoever. It's a triple leveraged ETF, and to make this very simple, this ETF goes up when the Nasdaq market goes down. So if you've ever wondered how can people make money as the Nasdaq market is pulling on back, this is one alternative. As of right now, what's the Nasdaq market doing, right? It's at all-time highs. It's bullish. The Nasdaq market is thriving right now. So I see, just like myself, right? I see why we're paying attention to an ETF like SQQQ. We can add it to our watch list because now SQQQ is at all-time lows, but we have no indication of a reversal or the market pulling on back. And I would rather, if you're a beginner, play it safe than to be sorry. Yes, I am personally someone that is paying attention to SQQQ as the Nasdaq market exceeds and hits all-time highs, but with no indication of a pullback, it wouldn't make sense for me to be fully invested in SQQQ because right now, again, the Nasdaq market is bullish. Therefore, the overall SQQQ position is bearish. So until we have confirmation, I hope you know, I will be posting about it. Until we have confirmation of a reversal of the Nasdaq market indicating signs of a resistance level, then I'm probably not going to talk about the SQQQ position too often until we get confirmation. I just don't want people watching to take a position thinking that it has to recover when it doesn't have to anytime soon, right? I do agree. It is something that I am paying attention to, and I'm watching it very, very closely, but it still has so much to prove, so let's not forget about that, right? Let's go ahead, and I think the other one was ticker symbol RAIN. Was that correct? So we got RAIN. Oh. Let me go ahead and see if it was. I don't know if it was RAIN Therapeutics. Let's go ahead and break it down real quick. And then I saw that SNDL was one. So let me go ahead and see how many we've broken down. So we've broken down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's do about 5 more. We can go through these pretty quick, right? So let's go ahead and go through this. I actually don't think this is the stock that was recommended for me to break down, but definitely oversold. Very low volume. This would not be something that I would touch myself. Just the volume itself is not something that I find attractive in any way. So again, if you want me to break down your stock, all you have to do is comment it. My goodness, it sounds like a fart machine outside. Yeah, make sure you comment down below. So we got SNDL. Let's go ahead and wait for this thing to load. Looks like it dropped 3% after market hours, 3% during normal market hours, and it gained about 0.5% after market hours. SNDL, as of right now, super bearish, making lower highs and lower lows. I do agree it is oversold, but let me ask you one very simple thing. Is this showing any signs of it indicating signs of an uptrend? No. For the past, month, it's been selling off. So what changed? What has changed now? Why does the current price level at 79 cents make it a buy? There's nothing that has changed. Yeah, you always run the risk of something potentially shooting up, but when there's no indication of a reversal, when there's no indication of no longer selling off, this thing looks as bearish as it gets. So I personally would not partake in this. You can set effective alerts. Set an alert for the break above the EMA line, above 84 cents, right? Set an alert for the break above, 90 cents, for the break above the SMA line at $1. Once it's actually indicating signs of an uptrend. With these hype stocks, it makes sense to partake in the action only when the direction is in your favor, not when it's pulling back. When the direction's in your favor, not when it's pulling on back. And again, as of right now, it's pulling on back, so there's no reason to pay attention to it as of right now. So let me go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got ticker symbol. Let's see, ticker symbol IRM. Let's go ahead and break this one down. So again, if you guys want me to break down any stock, just make sure you post it in that live chat, and I'll be more than happy to break it down for you. So we got IRM. We can see that it hit overall highs of $48 a share. It was $47.50. So let me go ahead and here we go. So $47.50, pulled on back, a lot of consolidation here. I don't view this to be a super cheap stock. I see a lot of consolidation right around the SMA line. And one of the things that I have to point out is normally when there's a lot of consolidation at the SMA line or the MA line, it looks like it could potentially change direction from what used to be bullish. We hope that it continues to uptrend, but more often than not, when it consolidates a lot here, it's indicating the SMA line as now a resistance level, and it wouldn't be much of a surprise if this thing begins to drop and then begin to make new lows and it begins to pull on back. We see it very, very often when we see so much consolidation around the SMA line. So just set effective alerts. I would set an alert for the break above previous highs, which is right around $45, and a break below previous lows, which is right around $42. At least you can become aware when you follow up with it if it's actually indicating signs of an uptrend or if it's selling off, right? So make sure that you set effective alerts and that you become aware of when it makes sense. So of course, I appreciate you asking for me to break this one down. So we got ticker symbol CM. I appreciate you posting that in the ticker call out format. So alrighty, let's go ahead and see how this is looking on the 4-hour time frame. Let's see, what else do we have here? Again, really low volumes. This personally would not be something that I would want to partake in. Looks like it was previously bullish, hit overall highs at 121, and then has been making lower highs and lower lows ever since. A lot of consolidation here, but that consolidation does not mean indication of an uptrend. How many of you guys have ever taken a position when something consolidates and then it just continues to sell off, right? Keep it simple. There's no reason you have to throw your money at everything. Keep it simple. We have this saying within our Learn Plan Profit group, and it's trade less, profit more, right? Especially when things are uncertain, especially if you're unaware that, especially when you're just getting started. I'm all for practicing, and through trial and error, you do learn a lot, but you don't have to do it with such a large position size, and you don't have to do it in such an aggressive way. As of right now, we can set effective alerts for the break above like 115, 115.50, and also set an alert for the break below 110. This would give us a better understanding if this is going to begin to indicate signs of an uptrend or actually begin to sell off and make these lower highs and lower lows. If this continues to sell off, of course we don't want to partake in it. If it begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, then of course we can follow up with it. So let's go ahead and break down CHWY. CHWY. So this is Chewy. Looks like it pushed up 2.44% on Friday, and it dropped about 0.25% after market hours. So nothing too crazy going on there. Let's see when this thing loads. Okay, super sweet. So this thing's very bullish. To keep this very simple, this is not a cheap stock. It is a stock that has been bullish for the past month, right? It's been making higher lows and higher highs, which is great to see. But let me ask you a very simple question. It makes sense on why you're talking about this if you're already invested in it, because as it pushes up, you're making money. But for someone like myself that has no money in CHWY, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for me to buy at these higher levels. It would make much more sense for me to, like last week, wait for it to dip to the SMA line, buy the dip, wait for the confirmation of a reversal above the MA, buy more there, and then as it pushes up, sell at the highs, and then wait for it to play out again, right? Buy the dips, sell the highs, buy the dips, sell the highs, buy the dip, sell the highs, buy the dip, sell the highs. It's not buy the highs and then sell the dip, right? Unless you're shorting it. But that's just my 2 cents on it. It's very important to understand the overbought and oversold levels, so let's not forget about it. SBUX. So we have someone wanting us to break down Starbucks. So we pushed up 2.7%, and Starbucks has earnings. Let's go ahead and check this out. Starbucks has earnings on the 27th. So it already acted as a positive catalyst. It looks like it already shot up to highs of 126, and it's very overbought. Let me ask you a very simple question. Does this look cheap to you? Does SBUX at its current price level look cheap to you based off of previous prices? No, right? It's at 126.32 based off of previous trading prices at 112. It's very overbought, and it's because of its previous performance these past couple of days. And if it reports earnings and it reports a positive catalyst, then great, it can continue to shoot up. But because it's so overbought, my biggest focus is risk management and how much it can, when it becomes overbought, right, pull right on back. So I would rather set an alert, wait for a pullback, wait for that opportunity to present itself, and actually make sense of the trade, not just take a trade because it was previously bullish before at these overbought levels. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and break down one more. CHPT. So we have CHPT. We have a couple people asking about the free stuff. It looks like you guys might be tuning on in a little bit late. I'll go ahead and explain to you. All we talked about is I'm going to be selecting one random person within this live stream. All you have to do is tag me on Instagram that you're watching this Sunday Stock Talk, and you can choose anything from our site. So you guys can go to shoptechbuds.com. Any mouse pads, any trading mouse pads, any flags, any wall art, whatever it is that you want, any apparel, you can select anything it is that you want, and I will be selecting one random person. All you have to do is tag me on Instagram, and by tomorrow at market open, I'll select the winner. So it's that simple. But let's go ahead and break this down real quick. So we got CHPT, again, very oversold based off of previous trading prices. This is actually a pretty solid one. It dropped 6% alone on Friday, right? Let's go ahead and see that recovery potential. If I were to buy the dip and if it were to make a full recovery, in the perfect world, that would look like a 62% return. But let's be honest, we don't live in a perfect world, right? I'm not going to just buy the dip on something and it's not going to magically just begin to pick up. I like that we're paying attention to stocks that are oversold, but now we have to wait for confirmation of a reversal and wait for those higher highs and actually allow that opportunity to present itself. So I think this is great. I think this is a stock worth adding to your watch list. I think this is a stock worth setting alerts on. So I already have my alert set up right here for the break above 25. I want to be reminded, I want to be alerted when Chpt is doing what? When people always ask the question, how do you know when to set alerts? How do you know at what price to set alerts? I want to set an alert to remind me when something is indicating signs of an opportunity, right? Indicating signs of an uptrend. So as this thing is making higher highs and higher lows, that's when I want to be alerted, when something is breaking above previous resistance levels. This is the activity that I want to partake on, not this. It makes sense on why we might buy the dip with a very small percentage and very few shares just to have some skin in the game, but it wouldn't be much of a surprise if it continues to sell off. So make sure you take risk management into consideration and set those effective alerts so you are alerted when that direction actually begins to be in your favor. So I like that. So this is my first live stream. I was able to join, but you saved me 11K by saying not to hold AMC once it broke below $41. Wow. Well, super happy to hear that. At the end of the day, right, we're never here to tell you where to buy or where to sell. One of the things that I always like to do is I don't like to tell people what to do. I like to share the reason why I'm doing something. And it's not that I'm either right or wrong 100% of the time, right? I'm human, we make mistakes. But one of the things that I always like to talk about is the intention behind something, on why I sell half of my position of all my long positions at all-time highs, right? Why would someone want to sell most of their tech stock positions at all-time highs as the overall Nasdaq market is at all-time highs? It makes sense to some people. It doesn't make sense to others, right? It doesn't have to make sense to everybody, but as long as your actions and you have a reason behind those specific actions, then I think that's what's most important. So I'm super excited to follow up with AMC. I'm super excited to follow up with the overall Nasdaq market. And once we begin to indicate signs of a pullback, I'm sure you guys all know where I'm going to begin to put my money, right? And then as it becomes oversold, I'll lock in my profits, and then I'll begin to buy the dip on all these different tech stocks. It's like we do this over and over again. And for those that like it, great. For those that don't, then we always wish you the best, right? Nothing but the best. And I just hope that you always have a reason behind everything it is that you do, that you don't go into it blindly, or that you don't go into it because someone else is telling you, hold the line, or whatever it is that people encourage others to do with other people's money, right? At the end of the day, you worked hard for your money. Make sure that you are the final decision maker on what you decide to do so. Because regardless if you make a profit or you take a loss, you can at least learn from it because you understood the reason why you did what you did, which is most important. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this little live session. One of the things that I do want to remind you is if you guys do, again, want to head on over to the Shop TechBuds site, that's going to be the fourth link in the description. All you guys have to do is if you guys want a chance to win anything from our mouse pads, anything from our flags, you guys can, if I select you as one of the winners, all you guys have to do is tag me on Instagram that you're watching this live stream, and you guys can pick anything from the apparel, anything from the flags, and anything from the mouse pad, and I'll be selecting one lucky winner tomorrow before market open. You don't have to be part of my group. You don't have to be part of TechBuds. If you tag me on Instagram, I'll be selecting one random person, and I'll be shipping you a flag or a mouse pad or whatever it is that you choose when it comes down to the apparel. So I hope that I earn your thumbs up. I hope that I can continue doing those giveaways. If you guys want to join us for the live trading session tomorrow at Market Open, I trade live every single day. You guys can click the second link down below to learn a little bit more about the Learn Plan Profit Group and what it's like to watch me trade live and to be a part of the team. So if you guys are not ready for that and are looking for a free alternative, we have 313,000 members, and that's that first link in the description. I appreciate you guys' time. I hope that we earned your thumbs up. Hope you can consider subscribing. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green.